Moca, our target demographic is like 18 to 34. I think we like kind of it's broad, but I think we're mostly like college age to like kind of this millennial kind of like thing. I think in general, just as a museum, like you kind of have to at this point just have some sort of presence. But I think it became really apparent that yeah, like our main demographic like uses these platforms. Okay, well, I think so. Usually, my primary duty is to manage the social media like platforms. So we have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google Plus, Tumblr. We're working on Snapchat. It's not yet happened. But what I do is I spend most of my time really honestly researching, which because we have like our exhibition schedule and we sort of structure our social media around like what's coming up in the next like 6 months at Mocha, and not just like, oh, how do we advertise that, but sort of, okay, well, what's the story that we can build around these events. So for instance, right now we have Don't Look Back, which is the 1990s show at the Geffen. And so I don't know how long I spent doing it, but I make like this like sort of bibliography of like articles and books and just various things online that sort of have to do with this like story of the 90s. So either about the artists who are in the show or the ideas that are structuring the show. And so just building that sort of overarching narrative and not having it just be like a through line of like, this is what's happening in Mocha, but sort of, everything that kind of associates with that. I don't know, I go back and forth between thinking that like, art needs to be experienced like, in the moment and like whatever. And I think that there's a lot to be gained also from that experience of, people take a picture of something and they refer to it again. And I think that it's sort of a pointless effort to, unless like it has something to do with the object itself and like that, if it's photographed, it'll like, if it's going to affect the actual object, which like I don't think would happen with an iPhone camera at all. There was some study that just came out that was like, that said something about millennials or like teens. I don't know if it's like all millennials, but that they like Instagram more than museums, or like they like going on, viewing art on Instagram more than in a museum. And I think, like the ability, just in general, the ability to like document your experience in real time is like a huge draw for people to go to anything, and people want to be like, I was here, like, here's me and my friend, like, and I don't think that that's bad, and I think that it does, I think it's a huge part of it. I think that if you don't allow people to do that, then, I don't know if it discourages them, but I think it's definitely like a little bit like weird. I also think that the experience of going to a museum has changed so much. People don't, like younger people don't necessarily always know how to go to a museum and not have the ability to like document it. Like it's sort of like, well, what do? Like you stand there and you look at the stuff and like I kind of like zoom through, and it's kind of this weird. Yes, I think like it brings more people into museums and like it's more exciting and dynamic. But at the same time, I like recently did a tour. Like I've sat in on a tour that one of the educators gave, and she went through and was like talking about each piece and asking us to like take a couple minutes, like look at each work, and then would ask us questions. And it was an entirely different viewing experience than like from what I usually do. Even when I go into a space, will have my phone out often, or just not like I go through really quickly. But actually taking time with the objects and thinking about them was so different. And I was like, wow, like phones actually really do take away from the experience, especially experience of things that were made before like iPhones.